time for Big D Energy with four-time Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the golden voice of Neil Rule. Live on the Woodward Sports Network, 99.1 and 93.5 The Roar, the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule. T-Foss, Terry Foster, Detroit sports media icon with me here today. We got Sawyer on the ones and twos. We got Sam in Fish's Bowl as well. Happy to have you all along for the ride here today on Big D Energy. A big hello to everyone listening on the radio, 93.5 The Roar, 99.1 FM, 94.7 HD2 as well. Don't forget about the Big D Energy podcast page on iTunes and pretty much everywhere else where you get your podcast from. All you got to do is click subscribe, and you are in there. Latest episodes go right to your phone. And as always, if you're watching on the YouTube channel as well, tap in to that YouTube chat thread, and we will take your thoughts, your opinions, any way you want to get involved with the show. You see the social media handles on the bottom of the screen as well. But happy to have everyone back in here with us today. T-Foss, Terry Foster, as we said, in the house.
T-Foss? I almost didn't make it. I went to the back, was shooting the breeze with the fellas, and just got engrossed in conversations. I told them a Rick Mahorn and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar story, and we were just kicking it. Having a good time.
That's what Uncle T does, man. When Uncle T comes through, he shares stories and stuff like that.
Oh, I got to tell you one other thing.
Yes.
I'm homeless. I got kicked out of the house yesterday.
What happened?
My job, I'm acting as a caretaker now for my wife's mother.
Uh-huh.
She stays with us. She stays in her little room, and I feed her in the morning and stuff. She got COVID.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so my wife was like, she made me test. I had to test twice, and I'm negative. And so she said, you got to leave. Because I said, well, I don't understand, because she's in a room on the second level, and I stay in the basement. My basement has everything. It has my office, big TV, bar, shower, bathroom. I don't need anything else. But I got kicked out of the house.
So where are you staying?
Last night I was with Mom.
Okay.
Today I'm probably going to stay with a friend and just kind of float around.
So you live in kind of like a bachelor life a little bit, huh?
Right. In different spots.
Okay, T-Foss, I see you out there.
Yep. But I'm going to behave myself.
Okay, man. I like it. It. No, we had a similar thing. My wife, actually, when I was out on the road trip, my wife tested positive for COVID, so had to go through all those protocols and stuff like that. She's out of protocol today, and same deal with me, testing negative all the time, staying positive, but testing negative, as we went through it. So that is actually the reason. So the Golden Grizzlies are on the road, and I'll be calling the game from here on the radio side. So I'll be doing it off the monitor and all that stuff.
Yeah, I know
so,
a lot of people are doing that.
Right. So that's kind of like the new wave. I've been doing it for a while, like the soccer I do for ESPN. I do it out of a studio down in Fort Lauderdale, Dania Beach, Florida, down there in South Florida. And, got experience with doing it. It was kind of neat because the soccer games with ESPN, you can do an East Coast game at 7 and walk out of the studio and walk down the hall and do a West Coast game at 10 and
beautiful
get two game rates. You know what I'm
and
saying?
Do you do an Hawaii game?
Oh, that you guys know that's the dream.
2 in the morning.
That's
I know
the dream.
That's what you want to do.
I would trade it all. I'd trade it all. Sawyer, I would kick it all in to do a Hawaii San Jose State game at Hawaii.
100%.
I'd do it for free. Don't tell CBS Sports Network that, but I would do it for free, but I'd still, get a check.
Oh, yeah. I'd be there. I'd produce it. I'd direct it.
Absolutely. Big Play Jay. And this goes back to yesterday. I have a furnace update for everybody. Big Play Jay, Terry. Do you have 2 furnaces or generators, Terry?
I have 1 furnace. 0 generators, and I should probably get one.
Yeah, and that's I don't have the generator either, but there was big talk because at the Rule compound, the furnace went out, like to the point where it was still on, but it wasn't kicking out heat. And there are a couple home remedy plays. I took it to YouTube and kind of step by step my way through a couple of things it could have been, but it wasn't that. And through my research, I kind of figured out that it wasn't going to be a good scenario. And we got it confirmed yesterday. It was not a good scenario. The heat exchange is, in fact, warped, the aluminum heat exchange. The furnace lived a good life. The house was built in 2005 or 2004, actually.
I used to be afraid of my furnace when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Our furnace back then was so big, it looked like it looked like a monster with like 8 different arms going out of it. And so then when I got older, I moved into a house, and I'm like, that's the furnace? It was so small and compact and everything compared to this behemoth monster that we had. It was like 8 feet tall. And then, like, if you're down there at night, it looked like it was moving. And it would make all kinds of sounds and stuff. And I was petrified of that thing.
Yeah. So, that's the update on the furnace. Fatal blow to the furnace. So we'll be getting a new one installed next week. So, hey, should we set up a GoFundMe account or something, Sawyer?
Yeah, everybody wants to make sure that you're warm during the winter. I had a friend who was goofy. We were having a conversation. He's like, why does the furnace only go out in the winter?
Because it's the only. I thought about that too. Because it's the only time they're on. Yeah,
I said because you don't have it on in the summer. Oh. And I said, just like, why does your air conditioning only go out in the summer?
Yep.
Same thing.
So Rich Diana says Neil's furnace R.I.P. But hey, it lived a good life. It lived about to its expectations. So, what are you gonna do, man? It's part of the.
Now, do you have a second furnace? You have 2
Yes.
furnaces? Oh, that's right. You live in large.
Live in large. Yeah, I guess that's the case. That's what people are saying. 2 furnaces, 2 air conditioners. Terry.
Right. Someone told me I was rich. You know why? Because my washer and dryer are not in the basement. It's on the first level. And they're like, oh, damn, you must live in a mansion. I said, no, it's just on the first level. I don't think that equates wealth.
I was told Habs Man has 2 air conditioner units and 4 chimneys. No, it's a gas fireplace, so there's not even really a quote-unquote chimney at the house.
Okay.
So, it's not what everybody thinks it is. It's nice, but, it's not what everybody thinks it is. It was funny because I got to thinking, and I have a group text thread with my buddies that, if ever we want to complain about our wives or families or stuff like that or talk about sports, you know how it works.
So I'm not the only one who complains about my wife.
No,
all right, good.
No, you're not.
I feel better now.
So my buddy was actually out shopping yesterday, and this kind of plays into the whole furnace thing because I told you, I went down there. I got in there, Terry. I did some things and tried some stuff and disassembled some stuff and cleaned some stuff out. I got in there to some degree. But I am very much not mechanically inclined.
I was going to ask you, are you a fixer-upper?
No. Not a lot of motor skills, per se. My buddy sent me a text yesterday. He was at Target. And I actually sent the picture. So you have the picture, right?
I don't.
You don't?
I have mine, though.
Oh, you have yours. Okay, cool. That'll work.
We got some, yeah. We got some.
My buddy sent me a picture. He was at Target, and there was a Lego set, a Titanic Lego set. It was basically the Titanic ship. And it was $600 for the Lego set. It was 9,000 pieces.
Damn.
All right.
Tight.
And I thought to myself, in much the same vein of the furnace thing, do people really like that? Do people really like putting together a 9,000 piece Lego set? Because I'm not here for it.
There's not many of them, but yeah, there's some people like that, and they're getting all into it and like, oh, this is great, and they put all that stuff together. They have that serious look on their face, and then when it's finished, they're happy as hell. No, there are some people like that. They just like working with their hands. I'm not one of them.
Jenna Newman says, my nephew wanted that for Christmas. Well, you need to refi. So I sent it over to Sawyer and said, hey, we should talk about this. And come to find out, Sawyer is one of these Lego guys. Look at this. This is Sawyer's Lego collection at his house, if you're watching on the YouTube channel. Look at all the Star Wars things, which I'm not a Star Wars guy either. I don't hate on it. That's what people like. That's what they like. But look at this setup here. And it just got me to thinking, do people out there, and let's do a YouTube poll about that, Sawyer. Do people really like putting together 9,000 piece Lego sets?
All right.
They don't.
It's a good question.
They don't
enjoy it. Satisfying. Look at that Millennium Falcon right there.
They don't.
Look how sick that is.
Why couldn't it just come together?
Because that's not fun. Why
can't you just buy it
sit there
as is?
Right. Like, why doesn't Lego offer that option?
I don't know. I feel like half of it is like actually, though.
It's for people who want to be busy with their hands and think about things and game plan. They're oddballs like that.
Yeah, you know what? Gator Raider says nerd. that's all he says in there.
I'll take it.
All right, let's back it up. Let's back up the poll before we make it live.
Okay.
Is Sawyer a nerd for liking 9,000 piece Lego set, for putting together 9,000 piece Lego sets? Is that fair, Sawyer? You want to take it to the streets?
Yeah, sure. We'll take it.
See,
I'll wear it.
I think that people are going to go easy on you a little bit because I think that's the nature of our audience. We have a good audience. We talk about them all the time, and I think they want people to feel good. So I think that the original poll, most people would say no. I don't want to put together a 9,000 piece Lego set.
Yeah.
Most people would say no, but they're going to say that you're not a nerd. Because for the most part, we have a nice audience.
Aren't we all nerds? There is something that in our lives that we do that's a little bit nerdy.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, like, I'm pretty nerdy. I'm not going to lie. I mean, yeah, I was an athlete in high school, but I mean, big Marvel guy, like, love Star Wars, all that stuff. Like, play PC games all the time, like Legos, so.
But you'll go out and shoot a moose now and then.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm legally obliged to with the beard. You know,
Okay.
you gotta do that every year to stay in the beard chapter, but it comes with a price, you know.
Pete Smith says, I stopped playing video games after the third button. Lions Rumble 81, your Millennium Falcon is dope AF.
Thank you, man.
Nick C says, some people enjoy building things, Neil. I'm going to say it in his tone because I know that's what it was. Sawyer has the YouTube chat poll up there. Is Sawyer a nerd for liking Lego? No, see... Is Sawyer a nerd for putting Legos together?
Okay, we'll fix it. I'll fix it.
Yeah, a 9,000 piece. See, Sawyer, you're trying to do that, man. You're trying to make it easy for people to tap out.
Oh,
I like that. That's pretty smooth on your part.
You know what Neil is doing with all of us without really saying it? He's saying there's something wrong with all of us.
No, Terry.
Yes, you are.
No, Terry, you brought up a good point. Okay, you brought up a good point. We're all nerds about something.
Right.
My thing is Mountain West football. Late Saturday night football.
That is
I'm
nerdy.
a nerd about that. I can look right in that camera and say, you know what? I'm a nerd because I like Mountain West football. Now, it's not Mountain West football like everything else, Terry. It's not just that exclusively. Like it's not that black and white. You know what I'm saying? It's Mountain West football because it's Saturday night at 11 o'clock because the kids are asleep, because I usually have Sundays off, because I can have a couple of bourbons or gypsy vodkas or whatever it is I like to do and just watch the game. And you know how it is. When you work in this business, Terry, our whole lives are sports. It's all we do. Like, I don't watch shows. I don't watch movies. Like, this is what I do. I was up last night watching the Pistons game till the end, which they won. We're going to have some Pistons talk coming up in the second hour. It's what I do, Terry. And that's why I'm getting ready, putting the finishing touches on the Oakland-Milwaukee broadcast tonight. It's what we do, Terry. So how often do you get the opportunity to just take something in as a fan? Not often, right?
That is correct. And plus, because my nature, I'm not a fan of any team, so I'm not sitting there watching something, rooting for something. But I do need a break from sports, so I do watch shows. I watch nerdy things, and I need that departure from the sports scene sometimes. But most of the time when I'm in the basement, I'm watching the whole NFL slate of games, or I will catch what's happening on NBA TV and stuff like that.
Yeah. And the poll is up right now. Is Sawyer a nerd for enjoying building 9,000-piece Lego sets? And the votes are flying in, which I figured they would. No, 66%. Yes, 30%. I knew you guys were going to do it. You guys are too nice sometimes. AC, Sawyer has an engineering mind, which you talked about.
Yeah, my dad is a mechanical engineer, so there's a little bit of that in me. So,
Are all engineers nerds?
No, because my brother-in-law is a mechanical engineer, and he's pretty cool. He likes bourbon and scotch.
Yeah,
Okay.
same with my dad.
And football.
Yeah. Played college football until he blew his knee out. So,
Where'd he play at?
Rose Holman Technical Institute.
Okay.
He went there for engineering, but he played football in high school, and then it was like third day of practice, just blew his knee out, and he goes, "Yeah, it's time to focus up on school."
Kajana Carter style.
Yeah.
But when we sit down and watch a slate of football games, aren't we sort of being nerdy? Because we're watching dudes that do things that we can't do, and we're like cheering for them. Go, run. Isn't that kind of nerdy?
I don't know. Maybe. You know what you remind me of right now? You remind me of my wife when I tell her I'm going to my fantasy football draft, because my wife is not a sports
that
person.
kind of nerdy?
Okay. Yes, it is. But again, for me, it's not about the fantasy football draft. It's about going hang out with the guys and having a couple bourbons or gypsies or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And you get to talk about football. And my wife has this way. Like, you guys talk about my tone and stuff. I know we're late for the break. I'll get to it. You guys talk about my tone. You need to hear my wife say, oh, so you're going to somebody's house and you're going to pick players for your fake little team.
Oh, man, she just shredded you. Your wife's kind of mean.
But when you think, is she wrong, though?
No, she's right.
Okay.
But she can't say it. Not to her man.
Yeah, we got tons of YouTube chat comments to get through. Yeah, there's a lot. A big play, Jay. That's nice, but I don't have time to put those Legos together. I'll buy it and it'll sit for months. And that's where it was. We went down the Lego road for a couple minutes with our kids, and they kind of ended up doing the exact same thing, which is good for me because I'm not a Legos person. Because, look, I like simple stuff. I'm a guy. Like football all the time. I like things uncomplicated. Lady Jane's haircuts for men. That's uncomplicated. I walk in, I sign in, I sit down, I get a haircut. Great haircut. Every single time. That's why I like Lady Jane's. You can go to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. You're not going to walk in and they're going to say, hey, can you come back at 5? Or, hey, we'll get to you in 50 minutes. No, you're going to walk in and get a haircut, man. That's why you're there. It's easy. And if you're like me, you like things easy, Lady Jane's a perfect fit. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Everything that we've hoped for, finally.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Greg Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
It's all happening now.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Off and rolling, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, T. Foss, Terry Foster in the house with you all. Happy to have you along for the ride. Tammy Chin, I need to hear Neil to a Tim Allen grunt. I don't know about all that. Stephen Baffy, a nerd is my brother who reads calculus and chemistry books for fun. Now that is a nerd. See, now, I don't think that is. I mean, I don't think that's being a nerd. I think Sawyer's a bit of a nerd because you got to parlay a 9,000-piece Lego set. How long does that take, in your opinion, in your experience?
I mean, the red Ferrari that I have right here, that took me maybe 3 or 4 sessions sitting down for an hour and a half, 2 hours probably.
It's about an 8-hour build.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just a good time to keep your mind busy, That's what I like it for. And it's satisfying. But who knows?
I was gonna wait you out and see what you were gonna say next. YouTube poll is up right now. Is Sawyer a nerd for enjoying building 9,000-piece Lego sets? No is 65%. Yes is 35%. Is he a nerd, Terry?
Sure he is. He's a nerd.
But as you said, we're all nerds about something.
Right. I remember I used to do puzzles. My favorite puzzles were the 8-piece puzzle sets. Get those things done in about 45 seconds.
Yeah, I'm not a big puzzle guy. I'm just not I'm not that engineering mind. I'm really not. So I teach its own. Again, it's kind of nerdy, yeah, but it makes Sawyer happy. So you know what, Sawyer, do your thing, man.
Oh, yeah. Wait, do you guys do, around the holidays, though? Christmas time, you do a holiday puzzle? As a family, is that not something?
No.
No? Oh, we usually do, that's, the only time I'll help with the puzzle.
Yeah?
It's around Christmas. They usually just set up one, and we just, do it while everybody's at home. And then, back in the day, they'd glue it up, and everybody'd sign it. Kind of cool.
You know what? Sawyer's family may not be nerds. They're probably the Coneheads. It sounds like something the Coneheads would do.
AC says Terry watches Game of Thrones. Which he does.
Oh, yeah.
Mike G, man, your wife castrated you with that tone, rule breaker. No, hey, I deal with it every single day of my life, man. She hits, you got to be tough. You got to be tough to be over.
Now I can
in the
see
Rule
you,
household.
you two at the dinner table. Honey Bun is saying, Neil, are you going to play that fantasy things where you worship all these teams? And then Neil just says, shut up, bitch.
no, that's I don't have that one in the repertoire, Terry.
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I need one more contract, one national contract to get to that level. Here's Johnny says, nerding out on NFL Network by listening to you all. Well, I appreciate it. Absolutely appreciate that. So, yeah, I mean, Robert says it's no different than Neil building his kids' toys on Christmas morning. No, I think it's very different.
Yeah, that's you got to do.
Right. I'm punched the clock. I'm punched in and working when I'm doing that. So it is. It's very. There is no enjoyment. There's no enjoyment for that from me. There's not. Like, I know they get excited the next day. I'm just being real with you guys. But I understand the assignment, Terry. Like, that's part of the package. That's part of what you sign up for.
That's a dad necessity. If you don't do it, then you got pissed off kids and even more pissed off wife because she's not doing it. And then, so you're doing that to keep the peace. So that's not being a nerd.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Does your wife get annoyed by the radio voice? She does, actually. She does. It's weird. It's like you guys are at the house sometimes. No, but we're talking about building things, obviously. And I did want to get into this discussion with you because I've heard people talk about it around town. Brad Holmes, where what he's built, and we touched on it yesterday, Terry, where in this one draft, you have 2 Pro Football Focus all-rookie players in Penei Sewell and Aleem McNeil. You have an honorable mention Pro Football Focus all-rookie team member in Amon-Ra St. Brown. Anzarike, the book is out a little bit. Melifonwu played, contributed, all that kind of stuff, battled through some injuries and stuff like that. Where are you at with Brad Holmes? Are you a buyer or a seller right now of the Brad Holmes
I'm
stock?
definitely a buyer because I understand the complexity of what he has to do. He has to remake a roster that's been neglected not for 1 year or 2 years, but been neglected for decades. And so what he has done is like, okay, I'm building from the inside out because that's the way you're supposed to do it. And I believe he made smart choices. He didn't get the wide receiver. He got Penei Sewell. That would be one of my criticisms. He didn't get 2 wide receivers out of this, but he got, Ra St. Brown or St.
Yes.
So he got him, which was great. I believe in this guy, and I do. The reason I say I think the Lions eventually are going to become good is because of him. He's not short-changing stuff. He's not rushing things. He's going to build it, and what he sees is the right way to build it. And a lot of people will tell you, get a strong defense, which he's working on. Make sure you get your defensive tackles. You have to have your left tackle to protect your quarterback. He had that, and now he's got insurance with Penei Sewell. So I think he's jamming.
No, and for me, you guys know where I stand with it. That I'm obviously a big time buyer, and I think people have even shortchanged Brad Holmes a little bit. Just listening to the people talk about what he's done. Here's where it is for me, Terry, and I think this is the ultimate trump card. And I've thrown this one out before. I can't remember if I was with you on the show or not. Amon-Ra St. Brown, impact player. That's fair to say, right?
Yes.
An impact player. Very fair to say.
Playmaker,
100%. His whole contract, during his whole rookie contract, will cost less than Kenny Galladay is going to make in his first 4 games with the Giants next year. That's impact, Terry.
Yes.
That is impact. That's getting Amon-Ra St. Brown, who, all right, and I'll ask you guys this. Right now, player to player, I'm not even talking about the money. Amon-Ra St. Brown or Kenny Galladay?
Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's easy.
Right. And if you want to, like, split hairs about it and say, well...
And the other thing, here's the part that people don't know. Kenny Galladay was another Lion who grew sour on this organization. He didn't want to be here. So definitely, you can't say him.
Yeah, and that's fair to say too. But for me, that is a giant move that I think is really being undersold in Detroit sports media and Detroit sports talk
and you know
and all
why?
that stuff. Why is that,
Because
Terry?
St. Brown wasn't a first-round pick. He wasn't this shiny piece that you look at, oh, look who they got. He's the first pick, and, you know, we saw what he did at Alabama or Clemson or one of these other high-profile. He was kind of snuck under in the 4th round. We didn't know who he was. Yeah, he was at USC. That used to be a high-profile program, but they kind of snuck him in on the 2nd or 3rd day, and he kind of was under the radar.
Yeah, and that's why for me, those are the kind of moves I'm talking about. Because I don't think. I guess my question to you, Terry, is why don't people understand that he's over 10% of the Giants' salary cap, and that contract, Terry, is just getting started. And these are the kind of moves that you're seeing the Giants make, and he's there through at least 2024. And that's with a $7 million cap hit to get rid of him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so he's in there. That's the kind of move with Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's what I'm talking about. That's what good organizations do. So in and of itself, and forget about the fact that, you know, did Penei Sewell fall to them or whatever? I don't care. He took them.
Right.
And that's going to be a guy, you pencil him in and you ride. What do you got, Sam?
I was about to say, it's actually incredible the first draft that Brad Holmes had. He's looked to have hit on his 1st-round pick, Penei Sewell, the 3rd-round pick, Ali McNeil, and the 4th-round pick, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I know it's just their rookie years, but they all look promising. And I believe Penei Sewell, at least, is plug-and-play for 15 years. Amon-Ra St. Brown could be an 1,000-yard receiver next year. That's incredible. 1st, 3rd, and 4th.
What about, Sam, when I tell you that stat? Because I don't think it's hitting home with everybody. Amon-Ra St. Brown's entire contract is less than Kenny Galladay will make in his first 4 games next year.
That's unbelievable. And considering the season that Kenny Galladay had this year versus the season Amon-Ra St. Brown had, it's like highway robbery, one versus the other.
All right, Neil, here's the thing you have to understand. We have to re-educate this fan base that you can get gems in the 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds.
And maybe, am I overselling it, I guess, Terry? Am I overselling it because I'm so starved?
No. You're talking about money. What people here in Detroit are used to, if you don't get it right in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd round, it's a flop for the most part. We don't know who these players are because they're either on the taxi squad or some other team gobbles them up or they just are backups. Now you're talking about a 4th rounder as a high-profile guy now who's productive, not making much money. We're not used to that here. So we don't know what you're talking about, if you know what I'm talking about.
Benji the Goat says, can we also talk about this team not being as stacked roster-wise so it's easier to give those kinds of players more reps? Well, Benji, I would say that they go through training camp and everything like that, and other people that were there weren't as good as they were, right? I mean,
right.
That's
correct.
Because they're going to go with whoever the best guy is.
How about this? You could start them, and you said, man, this guy sucks. Because you can see quicker if somebody can play or not when you actually eyeball them on the field. So let's say Amon-Ra St. Brown, you put him in the starting lineup. He's dropping passes all over the place. That's a flop. But we see him, or we see them, Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell's the guy that struggled early. But at the end, we're like, damn, this guy is pretty damn good. So, yes, they're getting opportunities. But you can still get opportunities and be bad out there, and these guys weren't.
Yeah, and I want to continue this discussion, but before we do that, I want to tell you, Cintron World's an aspirational lifestyle beverage brand with a line of sparkling flavored energy beverages, premium bottled water, and revitalizer shots. Cintron, the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings, proud partners with the Detroit Pistons, exclusively served at Little Caesars Arena. If you're looking for premium ingredients, long-lasting energy, balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and great taste. Bottom line, guys, it's got to taste good, right? I mean, it can have all the hydration, all the balanced nutrition, everything. If it doesn't taste good, we ain't drinking it. But Cintron is your top choice because it tastes good. Buy online at cintronworld.com with promo code RedWings10. Save 10% with shipping included. Drink it. Live it with Cintron.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, the mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule here with T-Foss, Terry Foster in the house. Of course, we have Sam in the bowl. We have Sawyer, the Lego nerd, on the ones and twos. Mike G. Sawyer said, should there be a 9,000-piece Amon-Ra St. Brown Lego set? Would you build a 9,000-piece Amon-Ra St. Brown Lego set?
That'd be pretty sweet. If he had like a nice long 10-year career, helped us get a couple playoff wins, maybe gets in the Ring of Honor. They put it out then.
So you wouldn't do it now?
Collectors.
You would do it when he really blows up.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be a cool collector's piece.
So right now you're saying, because it's early, he's like a Happy Meal toy at McDonald's, like those little 8-piece sets that they...
Yeah, or like, how they make the little like mini figure sets like that big?
Yeah.
Like one of those right now. I'd build a little
They're like $9.99 at the store or something like that?
I'd go for one of those, but not like the $250 one yet.
What current or former line would you do the 9,000-piece erector set build?
I mean, you could definitely build one for Calvin Johnson. Build one for a Barry Sanders one would be cool. They get him like in a pose, juking somebody out. That'd be a good one to build. I mean,
like a life-size Barry one where when he's spinning, Harlan Huckleby around. That would be cool.
An Ndamukong Suh one down in his 3-point. That'd be a pretty cool one.
One of my favorite. We were talking about memorabilia yesterday when D-Mac was on, and we had our guy from the greatest wrestling collection of all time. One of my favorite memorabilia things I have a 16x20 picture of a Ndamukong Suh signed where he's got Brady by the jersey on the ground. It's pretty sweet. And, I know it's Sue, and I know he's not here, but it's one of my favorite photos.
That's good. Well, he was here, and he did his thing. You don't have him stomping anybody?
No, I don't have that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Now, that's a cool one because Brady is the GOAT, and a Detroit Lion has got him, or has given him his comeuppance. So that's a cool picture.
Bear Moore says, Lego are amazing. Don't be a hater. And I'm not, again... You got to do what you want to do. Like, obviously, people like it. It's very successful, very profitable. It's not appealing to me to sit down and put together a 9,000-piece Lego set that costs $600. Now, you have like a holy grail of Lego that you're looking for, right, Sawyer?
Oh yeah, I mean, I want the Death Star would be obviously very cool, but that's like $1,100 right now. But what I want right now is they just put it out. It's the like clone troop transport from Star Wars Episode 2 and like the Clone Wars. It's like my favorite chip and all of it, but it's like $250, so who knows? Today's payday, though, so maybe if I'm feeling freaky, maybe.
Is today payday? Oh, it is.
Oh,
look at that.
Oh, big day today.
I didn't even think about that with the whole furnace action.
Use his whole pay to get that.
I'll buy a furnace instead.
There's a pattern with Neil, and Neil, forgive me. Neil makes fun of us, but he does it in such a sophisticated way that we don't get it all the time.
Oh, T-Foss, stop.
Then he comes back and says, I wasn't making fun of you. I love you. Come on, give me a hug. This is what this guy does over here. You make fun of us. Then
you're saying I slide a curveball by you? Is that what you're saying?
Then he wants a hug. Like, you my man. I love you. But I just called you a jerk. But I didn't mean it.
D. Essex says, so Ben Simmons. We're going to get to that in the second hour. We are. Because I got a lot of questions about that. Because every day that goes by, I want Ben Simmons more and more. And I have a couple of proposals I'll give to Terry. Terry, of course, covered the NBA for a long time. Was in a 30 for 30, by the way. So when he'll talk down to us in the NBA without us knowing that he's talking down to us.
I will do. See, I admit when I talk down to you. I will.
Detroit Dabber 313. Yes, T-Foss going in. Here we go. Man, T-Foss.
I was in a 30 for 30 Bad Boys documentary.
But you wouldn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Because all you do is watch it. You're not in it.
No. If you were in it, they wouldn't use you as much as they use me. I admit I'm bad, but you refuse to admit it.
Rack says, all right, T-Foss, Rack says sounds a lot like the old D-Mac saying, kick the dog, pet the dog.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes, that's true.
Oh, man. No, It's pretty funny, though. We are talking Brad Holmes right now. And just where are you a buyer or a seller? Bottom line. And not only, and for the stock market dorks out there, not only am I a buyer, Terry, I'm buying a 3-time leveraged ETF of Brad Holmes. I mean, I'm buying call options. I'm buying it on leverage. I'm empty. I'm all in. And this is a guy, Terry, and I said no one has been more critical on the Lions over the last 20 years than I have, and my friends can confirm, but someone in the YouTube chat thread said yesterday that no, Terry Foster's more critical of the Lions than you are. But Terry, I am, for the first time since Barry was here, I am all in because of because of one thing. Because of Amon-Ra St. Brown's whole contract is less than Kenny Galladay's going to make him four games. Oh, and by the way, Penei Sewell looks like he could be a gold jacket contender.
Right. And in previous Lions front office would, get Goofy McGillicuddy. I remember they drafted Aaron Gibson. And the big story on Aaron Gibson, who was a lineman, who was like a 300-pound lineman that couldn't play, his mama was a clown.
Like for real?
Yeah, like for real. She had clown shoes, and that's what he wore as a kid. His mom's clown shoes because they're nice and big. But I remember having a conversation because at the time, I think you should allow the fans to make the draft picks, at least in the previous Lions, because the big thing was, why didn't you pick Randy Moss? Instead, the Lions, what was the little cornerback's name?
Terry Fair.
Terry Fair.
And then they took Jermaine Crowell, a receiver, in the second round.
Right. And then I had a conversation with Ron Hughes, who's a player personnel director. I said, dude, we were talking about Randy Moss, and I said, you guys didn't pick him because he smoked weed. I said, that's sorry for me. And I said, every NFL player should smoke weed. And he said, it wasn't because of his character issues. He says, you're going to see this in his career. He's got alligator arms. And I was like, that's baloney. He does not have alligator arms. He's afraid to go over the middle. Yeah, he would just burn you for 75 yards on top, and you'd rather have that. And then afterwards, Wayne Fontes is talking about, we need playmakers. I said, yeah, well, you could have had one, but you were afraid because he smoked weed at Florida State and Notre Dame. But they insisted, no, he had alligator arms. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
No, and that's where, for me, just that one singular move signifies a change in philosophy of an entire organization, because that's what I've been dying for this Lions team to do. And you have to do that by hitting later on. That's the only way out. Right. I've said it since day one when I sat in this chair. The only way out is through the draft. And if you have someone that can draft, you can get good and get good in a hurry. And I'm not saying plan the parade or buy your playoff tickets or anything like that next season. But when 2023 gets here, Terry, I honestly believe, and you guys can clip this and put it in a time capsule or whatever, when 2023 gets here, I honestly expect them to contend for a playoff spot. Honestly.
They should. And because it's not that hard to do. The NFL is set up where basically in December, 70% of the teams are in playoff contention. I mean, even if you're 5-7 or 4-6 or something, you're technically in playoff contention. So I don't want to hear about being in playoff contention. I want to hear about making the playoffs and winning the playoff
hosting
game.
games.
We let them off so easy in this town. Soft media.
Right.
To me, I will slightly get off the Lions case if they make the playoffs and win a playoff game. Win a game in the playoffs. Show me something.
You know what, Terry? That I'm going to write this down for the next segment because I want to. You just said something that I want to revisit with you, and this is way off script and everything like that. And I apologize to Sawyer. We collaborate and put together these show sheets and the stuff we're going to get to. But sometimes, Sawyer, you got to call an audible on stuff.
When you got to yell out Omaha at the line,
yeah, and Omaha, 23 zip. You know, like sometimes you have to do that. I'm going to do that because Terry brought something up, and I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts out there as well because you're the fans here. A lot of you have been here for a very long time, like the rest of us. So that brings up something to me. YT Sparty, wasn't Terry Fair a decent player? Obviously, no Randy Moss level. Well, YT Sparty, here was my issue with it. I'm cool with that. If you said, hey, I want to go with Terry Fair over Randy Moss, I'm cool with that. And yeah, Terry Fair was He was
Yeah,
fine.
all right.
He was an average NFL player, whatever. Here's my problem. My problem is the next round you take Jermaine Crowell, a wide receiver, when you could have had a gold jacket wide receiver. Now, was it a gamble? Yes, it was a gamble. However, obviously receiver was a priority for you because you invested a second-round pick in it.
Correct.
So what you said is true. I don't care what they say to your face. What you said is true because receiver was a priority. That's my point, where those are the types of moves that this organization has always done, and I don't see that with Brad Holmes.
Right. I think look, we were all clamoring, you got to get a wide receiver in the first or second round. Brad Holmes said, no, brothers and sisters out there, I'm going to build it from the inside out. I will get you a wide receiver at some point, and he did. Who's to say if they had picked a wide receiver in the second round, he would be better than Amon-Ra St. Brown? Maybe slightly better, but you build the team better with by getting.
But Terry,
Canoeing
he's also double the cost,
and he's cheaper, right?
And that's why don't people recognize that, Terry? That is the key in this NFL, and that's why, by the way, and as we do the draft talks, and I've touched on this before, but you're going to hear me say this. That's why you're seeing these and Terry, you notice it. You're seeing these quarterbacks inch up and up and up and up and up because of the discount to market. Why don't people talk about the economic side of football? Because that's the difference.
We don't people's a fan base. They look at the guy. Can he play or can he not play? They're not looking 5 years down the road and saying, well, he's going to be so expensive we can't afford him anymore, or he's making more. But this town should know that, because you know why this town, the Lions were handicapped? Ndamukong Suh, Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford, all drafted pretty close to each other. Not only first-round picks, but top 3 picks. They became so expensive that you just couldn't build a quality roster.
Right, and that was the time and space, and that's why the draft rules changed, like the rookie salary and all that stuff changed, because when you boil it all down, you guys know how I talk about, and a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around this. Once you're eliminated from playoff contention, the system rewards you for losing and penalizes you for winning. It does, once you're out of playoff contention.
Right.
Much the same way the Lions were maybe the poster child for that. Under the whole previous rookie salary situation, if you hit 3 top 5 picks in a row, you were penalized badly, financially.
Absolutely. So I heard, I was watching some of the post-game playoff coverage, and I heard someone, one of the coaches bitching, we're going to get punished now because we went far, and we're going to have to give up some things, and we're not going to have draft picks and everything. But the Lions, it's funny how they change rules when the Lions get screwed on something. The Calvin Johnson catch thing, they changed the rules. Now, when a team gets too many draft picks or high draft picks, they were basically crippled. And so when it crippled the Lions, it's okay, we can't have this happen to anybody else, so we're going to change the rules where they're not going to get paid as much.
Yeah, it's just, I think that you're going to see it where this whole quarterback discussion, and people are starting to lose their minds about it. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. You're seeing the Mel Kipers of the world and stuff like that. That second first-round pick, the Sam Howell discussion, the quarterback discussion. Guys, wrap your head around it. Prepare yourself mentally for it, because there's a good chance it could happen because of the financial side of things. If you hit a quarterback on a rookie deal, there's such a discount to market that it makes it worth the gamble. If you believe, and that's where, if he does it, I'm all in with it, man, because they evaluated the guy just like I evaluate vodka when I'm tasting it. 50 different formulas, countless taste tests. Gypsy Vodka is the #1 overall draft pick as far as a vodka draft will be going today. Locally made out of Petoskey. It's got the cool bottle if you're into that kind of thing too. Me, I'm into good tasting vodka. That's where it stops for me. Gluten-free, corn distilled 6 times. They use artesian spring water. Support local guys from the state of Michigan out of Petoskey. Try a bottle of Gypsy Vodka today. Ask for it by name. As always, drink responsibly.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Woodward Sports. This part of the show today, watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
It's on and poppin', Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, T-Foss, Terry Foster, Detroit sports media icon in the house. We got Sam, we got Sawyer, we got y'all, our YouTube chat thread. You guys are heavily involved in their social media as well, the radio, however you're doing it. We're happy that you are. Alex Mayer in our YouTube chat thread said, it's my goal one day to make Neil read one of my comments. So there you go, Alex.
Congratulations.
There you go. I read it. I hope you're happy.
And that was the last time.
Well, no, I'll read this one, too. Neil's the king of the segue. All right, there. Now we're done with Alex.
All right, good.
Quabzilla says, pass on Howell. He'll be out of the league within 5 years because he doesn't slide when he runs the ball. And look, I'm not going into, quarterback breakdowns and stuff like that. We got a lot of time to do all of that. And it doesn't matter. Like, the name doesn't matter, guys. Wrap your head around the fact that with one of the top 34 picks in the draft, the Lions are going to take a quarterback. Just like a bunch of other teams are going to take one too. Because the financial side drives the decision-making just as much as anything else. It does, guys. And the discount to market with a quarterback on a rookie deal versus $40 million a year for Russell Wilson. You think the Seahawks are happy right now they signed him to that deal, Terry?
Sure they are. But here is the problem with your argument is, if you don't get a quarterback really high, chances are they're going to fail. And Russell Wilson, he was picked in the 6th round, but that's an outlier.
But even Patrick Mahomes, though, Terry.
That's an okay.
Lamar Jackson. These are first-round guys.
There's 3 guys, and you're talking about for the last 10 years.
No, I'm not getting into the analytics of it because you're right. Like the hit rate is the hit rate. You want to talk about, like, my guideline is guys who won playoff games. That's my guideline. And I understand what the hit rate is. But I think it's going to be simple math where you look at the discount to market, and this is very analytical, I know, and I call Sawyer a nerd for building Legos. I guess I'm kind of nerdy about the financial side of football.
Okay, but I think you just got to pay your quarterback. You got to hit on the quarterback, pay him, and hope he's Peyton Manning or hope he's Tom Brady light or something like that. Other positions, I understand. I want to save some money, but I'm more interested in hitting with that quarterback because if you get a guy that's kind of in between, you're moving up with him, and then once you got to pay him, you got to make a decision. Okay, we either got to get rid of him or we got to pay him. I mean, like Lamar Jackson, as much as we love him and think he's great, the Ravens made a tough decision. Their debate was, okay, we're going to hang with him or we're going to just get rid of him. So you got to make that decision. And, as far as quarterback, I'm not doing the economic thing. I'm either paying him or I'm not.
Okay, and that's a route too. But ask the Denver Broncos about that right now. They have this quote-unquote ready-made team. That's what everybody talks about, right? Like the Broncos are right there. They're just a quarterback away. How is it out in those streets right now? Yeah, and we're going to get into the Ben Simmons discussion. I think the 76ers are in a similar spot to where the Denver Broncos are right now, which we'll discuss. I'll kind of break that down a little bit coming up. But I did want to hit you with this question, Terry. And you brought this up last segment where you mentioned the media in this town and said that there was, quote-unquote, soft media in this town. And this will be something that will play in when we have our Ben Simmons discussion. So I asked some people out there that are listening, that are watching. Do you guys think the media is soft here in Detroit, Terry? And I pose that question to you, which obviously you said, the media can be soft here. Hey, go a little deeper on that, Terry. Explain, kind of the logic behind that.
I think I used the word more understanding.
Okay, I like that.
Because sometimes a tough media it only makes sense in the market. Like Philadelphia, those people, they're really blue collar, they're really parochial, and those fans are nuts, booing Santa Claus and everything. They need a tough media. I don't think this fan base wants a tough media. So pretty much the papers, radio are giving them what people want. When you look at Bally's or whatever it is, that's soft. I mean, that's super soft. They're not, sometimes I will miss a Pistons or Red Wing games, turn on the post game, I say, oh, Pistons won. And then the way they're talking, and then you find out, damn, they lost by 15 points. What are they talking about? But I think that's what the fan base here wants. You get your craggedy minority who will speak up and say, yeah, be tougher, be tougher, be tougher. But when you're tough on these sports teams, no matter how bad you are, you get criticized by the fan base because they don't want to hear it. They want, talk good about my boys. My team may not be good now, but they're going to be in a couple years, so let's get on the bandwagon. And, and a lot of times, as being a journalist in this town, one of the criticisms I get is, why aren't you more supportive of the team? Because the team sucks, that's why. And I equate it to this. If, let's say a play was coming out, and you knew the play was awful, and your wife said, hey, honey, let's go see Green Bunny and Jinx. And you're like, well, damn, that play sucks. Are you going to go? No. But if a team is here that's absolutely dreadful, the fans will say, well, if you don't go, you're not being a true sports fan. You should go support the team no matter what. I don't believe in that. And
so you're more consumer-based, right, where we're not getting a good product. So just like you said, we're going to go to a restaurant where the food's bad? No.
Yeah, somebody's got bad food in a restaurant. I'm going to go there and spend my $50 for a bad steak. Hell no.
Yeah, I'm just curious to know where people are at with that. Ryan,
you know what? Maybe you should ask the question, do people want a tougher media?
Do you want a tough media?
I would say you don't.
And there's Terry kind of laying it down. Ryan D says, nailed it, and I am in media. Ryan Zarzecki says, I live in Philadelphia. People here are soft. Lions Rumble 81, just the name Bally's is soft, LOL. But, I wonder about that. And look, you guys know this, so I do play-by-play for the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. I'm an extension of PR, Terry. I'm employed by the university. Mm-hmm. I'm paid by the university. There's stuff that comes along with that. And I don't hide from that. I don't. Because, again, I always go back to it. That check's got to pay for a new furnace this week. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I need that job because we need a new furnace because it's going to be cold. It is cold right now. That's where I think selectively people kind of have to understand where it is. I'm not in media. I'm in public relations. Mm-hmm. I got a journalism degree.
I mean, if Greg
but I'm in public
Campy
relations
is staying in a 2-3 zone and the team is just shooting the lights out from 3 and he's not challenging them, you're not going to go in there and say, man, Greg Campy can't coach. What is wrong with him? This was, even for me, I don't even coach. This was an obvious switch. You should have gone to man-to-man and didn't do it. Greg Campy's a bum.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, though, and this is where it's unique with Camp, for me, this is where I'm very, very lucky, and I've always said this. Camp will say it himself.
Yeah, he will.
I'll get him in the post-game interview, and I'll ask him, say, Camp, they were slicing that zone up a little bit, your thoughts? And he'll say, yeah, we weren't very good. Maybe that's bad coaching where I should have shifted to something else. Like, he'll do that, but most coaches aren't like that.
Yeah, no, he's not. I have mentored some of the sports writers over the years at the Oakland Post, and the one thing that I'm critical of them is they just write straight game stories. Here's what happened with the Grizzlies in the first half. Here's what happened in the second half. And I said, guys, you got a guy that writes stories for you. I'm talking about Greg Campy. He rips himself. He's very colorful. He needs to be a bigger part of your game stories because this is not a guy.
Because he does the work for you.
Right, he does. This is not a guy that'll go out there, well, we played well today and I like my team. Boom. Now, this dude will break it down, break his team, criticize his players, which a lot of coaches do not do in college. And, this guy writes stories for you if you report more about what he's doing rather than what's happening in the ball game.
Yeah, and again, that's kind of a unique situation. Greg Campy's going to be Tom Izzo will do it too. I mean, you can ask Izzo a question, and he'll answer it, and he'll be pretty honest about it with you.
When he does this, when he rubs his head, it's like, here it comes. Somebody about to get lit up.
No, but I wonder about that. Colonel Linga says media should be tough, but they don't have to bash. Call it how you see it, and be critical when needed. And I know that things have gotten clouded in the day and age because fair or unfair, advertising rates, those types of things are related to clicks and how you can present that to a company that you want to advertise with your journalistic source or your newspaper or whatever. Let's just call that what it is, Terry. That's what it is.
But that's something journalists don't think about. I have never been in a meeting where an editor has said, hey, we got to watch how we write these things because we might lose advertisers or somebody might be upset with us. That has never happened to me in my 32 or 36 years in journalism. I never heard it. And I've been a part of a lot of boring meetings where the whole staff has to come in. But what we talk about more is what's interesting to our sports fans. What do they want to hear or read, or what's important to them? I have never been told, don't write something because of an advertiser.
Yeah. Josh L. Neil Rule has such a fake laugh. I don't know. It's the way I laugh. People have said that before.
Let's hear you laugh.
We have an audio of it right there. Can we run that again, please? See? That's as legit as it gets.
Yeah, I'm not going to criticize someone from unless they go, but we all laugh different ways.
We do. Motown Cool says bashing becomes whining at some point. So, I mean, it's a tough line to walk, but Terry, I think you might be right. I don't know that we want the New York Newsday media here.
Right.
I just don't think we do.
No, they don't. And here's the other that's a slippery slope. For some people, a criticism might be just criticizing someone, but there's a whole bunch of folks that say, okay, he's bashing. So we all have our own little interpretations of what's criticism and what's bashing.
And that was something actually that my friends and I would talk about. That year they went 2-14. He's like, you're a hater, you're bashing. But bro, they're 2-14. You can't escape that. That's the reality. Start with the reality. They're 2-14.
True. They were 3-13-1 this year, and I think the Lions' coverage this year was mostly positive.
I would agree. I'm one. I'll raise my hand and say, hey, when I'm in this chair, I am part of that media. I've been pretty positive with them. Mm-hmm. I think for the most part because they've done stuff that I haven't seen them do before, and that's why I was positive. This year was a write-off anyway, and to me, next year's a write-off too, and then we'll reassess in 2023. If you're not with mybookie.ag, you need to reassess what you're doing with your sports betting dollar. If you haven't tried them yet, sign up today. Use a promo code Woodward. They'll double your first deposit up to $1,000, folks. And hey, bonuses are nice, and promo codes are nice and all that stuff. It's about the interface. It's about the experience. MyBookie.ag, very, very clean, very easy to navigate. Once you get on board with MyBookie.ag, they're going to be your go-to. I know a lot of you have a couple of different companies you're with. Give MyBookie.ag a spin. They'll double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000 with the promo code Woodward. NFL playoffs will be in the mix. Might want to jump on those Green Bay Packers now, depending on what happens with the 49ers' health situation. It's almost like buying a stock, I think. You could see that line.
Oh, you mean the Packers are going to go further than Tampa Bay? Those Packers?
I'm just saying, yeah.
I thought I told you that 3 weeks ago, and you blew me off.
I did not blow you off, T-Foss. Come on, but hey.
You fought me on it.
T-Foss, we'll talk. Hey, we're going to talk Monday about that. You're in Monday, right? You will.
Yes.
Okay, well, we reset it. Then all of you that jumped on mybookie.ag and doubled your first deposit with the promo code Woodward, you can tap into the chat and tell us how everything went with you. Great lines on UFC fights, NFL playoffs, all that going on. Get down with mybookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Have a problem with gambling? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline, 1-800-270-7117.
Gang, gang.
Everything that we've hoped for finally.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
It's all happening now.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Pulling up on the second hour of the show, Neil Rule, Terry Foster, show's flying by, as it always does. Rob Topping on our YouTube chat thread. Neil, you really think next year's a write-off for the Lions? Yeah, because of the total rebuild of the roster. It's going to take 2 draft classes to get the full complement of talent in here. It's a consistent message right there.
Yeah, guys, and let me just say this. A lot of people thought the Lions are going to have one bad season and everything's going to be good next year. No, they're going to stink again next year. They're not going to go 9-7, although I know that's not good enough around here. They're not going to do that.
Yeah, I 2023, I'm all in. And I've made my peace with it. And look at that. We're already halfway through. Remember when we came on the air in September? We started the whole Lions clock. Mm-hmm. We did it, guys. We're halfway through.
With that said, they should still win 7 games next year. Now, that's not the playoffs. That's not great. And if they do finish 7-10, this town is going to celebrate that. So that's probably what you can expect for next year.
Yeah, which is where I am with it.
If you're lucky.
Speaking of the Lions, their offensive lineman, Tyrell Crosby, posed a pretty good question. And we've laughed about this kind of stuff before, but Tyrell Crosby says, if as an NFL player we aren't allowed to bet on the games, which I fully agree with, why are government officials allowed to buy stocks and stock options and things like that? You ever because I always see these stories come across the wire where, politicians have tapped into a stock right before it blew up because they knew, the coronavirus thing was something where, there was a lot of shorting of the stock market from government officials that kind of knew what the real story was before. And this is an age-old argument where people of power, people with knowledge and power, all that kind of stuff. I understand that, but Tyrell Crosby's 1,000,000% correct.
No, he is absolutely, but it's something we never think about.
Why is that?
Because, I think we embrace sports so much that sports people can influence games. Politicians cannot. Now, politicians might know something that's happening, but they can influence by their votes, by the way, if they support something or not. But they're not in the trenches creating a drug. They're not in the trenches creating a car or something that's going to explode. But this is something that we as a society didn't think enough about. Yeah, but you can vote to kind of help make sure that this happens. So Crosby is absolutely correct.
Detroit Dabber 313 says, preach, Tyrell. AC says Nancy Pelosi beats the market all the time. And I read this one, and I shouldn't have got it because I know what's going to follow with all this stuff, and I'm not here for that. This is like the only political thing, I guess. It's not even political. But AC says Nancy Pelosi beats the market all the time. We study her moves in finance class at Michigan State. And that's something where, for me, it's true, right? Because you have access to insider access to the knowledge of what's going to happen.
You know what else Nancy Pelosi could get rich off of? Lipstick and makeup companies, because she wears so much. I know she's an older citizen, but man, she should buy stock in VO5 or whatever they.
VO5 is VO5 still around?
Yes,
can we confirm?
Yes. I don't know the ladies' makeup market. Excuse me. I know Kardashians have stuff.
Is VO5 shampoo still around? It's still 99 cents. We got to take that to the research department.
No, it's probably $2.99 now.
Yeah. Trip is the name. Government contracts could easily influence the market as well. Nick C says it's red and blue. Both sides do it. And yes, and the insider trading, Steve Baffey talks about insider trading. What do you got, Sawyer?
Can confirm VO5 is still around. It's $1 on Instacart.
It's only $1?
So it's always been. It's
wow.
Through all this inflation, everything that's going on, old VO5 shampoo still $1. Fight me on that.
With that saying, we should be able to get a Big Mac for 59 cents. That's the case.
Well, either that or the people that run VO5 need to step into the whole grocery game right now, because I talked about that last week, man, when I took a spin through the grocery store. I was like, man, what happened overnight up in here, man? Like, it got crazy. And I know we're kind of complaining about prices and stuff, all that stuff. But Crosby's getting a lot of love where, and it was interesting because he's asking the important questions right there. And I haven't heard an answer to it. And no one cares, it seems like. Like, we're like, yeah, that sucks that they can do that. That's dumb.
I don't think it's we don't care. We just, sometimes something happens in life we didn't think about.
Yeah. Machiavelli sucks to go. VO5 and Tab Cola. Yeah, how is VO5 still 99 cents?
No, it's $1 now.
Avocados are like $6 a piece now, or they whatever crazy number they're at. But old VO5 is still 99 cents.
You know why?
Reliable.
It's just water
with color.
Yeah.
Benji to go. Imagine having a family member in the NFL and they tell you the team's game plan for the week. Man, that would be nice for DraftKings. Bear Moore wants to know what is in VO5. Robert says that would be Alberto VO5 to be specific. Classic 1970s commercials. Been around that long, huh?
Oh, yeah, I remember the commercials when I was a kid. Oh, of course.
Really?
And you know what else? Old Spice.
Old Spice, still around.
If you put on Old Spice when I was a youngster, you got all the ladies. Now if you put on Old Spice, it's this is a cheap bastard here. What's he put this crap on for?
Detroit Dabber says VO5. Do you brush your teeth with AIM too? Is AIM still around?
I haven't seen AIM in a while. See, the only toothpaste I know about is Crest. And
I only know about Crest,
no.
And I bet it's double whitening too, Terry.
No. My grandmother bought Crest, and I bought Crest as an adult.
What do you got, Sawyer?
AIM is still around, and it is also still $1.
And what about Gleam?
Gleam.
No, there's a toothpaste called Gleam.
People are talking about Brute, Brute Cologne. That's still out there.
Yeah, Brute's around.
Terry, if you want, you can buy a vintage 1950s large Gleam toothpaste thing for $25 off eBay.
Oh, gee. No, that's okay.
Clomp sauce. That's charcoal-based toothpaste, gang. I did get a tube of the charcoal-based toothpaste, and it was wild, man. Like brushing your teeth with
it just makes it black.
Yeah, it makes it all black. You spit it out in the sink, it's all black. It was wild.
Why would you do that?
Because they say the charcoal is better at scrubbing your. I don't know. There's some clever tagline.
Yeah, I'm sure it's eating at your enamel too. You're gonna have bald teeth.
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty funny. What about Bod body spray? VO5. You get what you pay for. Bad hair. That's what Tom Sloan says. See, I don't know. Does it frizz? Does it frizz your hair? It's got to frizz your hair out, right?
I wouldn't know about that. I am a bald gentleman.
Yep.
And when I started losing my hair, you know what I thought? First thing, I'm not going to be able to get any women.
And now
that was it.
And now,
and that was not true.
It's quite the opposite. Listerine getting some love. Listerine's still around and strong, I think.
Oh, Listerine was the worst tasting stuff in the world. They had to mint it up. They had to take the alcohol out of it because Listerine makes your eyes water.
Yes,
that brown Listerine, that's a rough thing. And then it doesn't make your breath smell good. It makes it smell like medicine.
It does. And that makes your eyes tear up too.
It sure does.
No, absolutely.
Try kissing a woman that uses Listerine. That's a tough kiss.
Michael Daniel wants to know, Terry, can you get Darren's chair fixed? ?
No. What's wrong with it? Is it too high? What's wrong with
the footrest on it keeps kind of popping down on him. It's been a big point of contention.
He complains about that. No, I can't.
Yeah. Detroit Dabber 313, Jakar. Jakar's on point. Is Drakkar dead in the Sawyer? You're a young buck. Is Drakkar dead, or is it still got some life?
I mean, it's pretty dead in us wearing it, but it's made its rounds on Family Guy. They made fun of it for a while.
Yeah,
so pretty funny.
What's the cologne du jour with your gen?
I'm not too sure. I'm rocking some Mahogany Woods cologne. So
rich mahogany.
Yeah, it smells pretty good.
Does it?
Pretty good. I like it.
What else? Sam, what do you got, man? You're a younger buck too.
Oh, I actually don't wear cologne ever. I just put on deodorant and go. My fiance thinks I smell good, so that's all that matters.
All right, my guy.
Oh, that's so cute.
That is so cute.
And he's whipped.
Eastside Meach says, I saw Bugle Boy jeans at a Family Dollar.
I'll tell you some jeans that were popular and you can't find them now. Jordache jeans were kind of, sexy jeans and everything. That's disappeared.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were big time, man. That was with the whole, through the whole, when polo jeans originally came out, those were big.
Yep.
Jabot jeans were hot in the 90s. Mm-hmm. I do remember that.
I think Jabot had a cologne, too.
I'm sure they did. It was a throwback for the Pistons. They got a win on the road trip on a back-to-back after getting blown out by Golden State. They rose up yesterday. Big win. Sadiq Bey had 30 points. We'll discuss that a little bit when we come back. Trade scenarios, too. Terry Foster, who was in a 30 for 30. I don't know if you guys know that or not.
And don't forget that.
No, don't forget that. You could only watch 30 for 30s, but Terry Foster was in 30 for 30s. And, hey, you don't have to ask him. He'll tell you.
I was in that chair for 2.5 hours.
There you go. See?
A long time.
He was a focal point of the pit. He was as big of a piece of it as Isaiah Thomas was, I think.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
No,
I actually was not supposed to be in that.
Really?
Yes. Isaiah Thomas insisted that I be in it because they were the only journalists they were going to have in there was Brian Burwell and Mitch Albom.
Mitch.
Yep. So they didn't know about me, but Isaiah Thomas insisted I be in there, and bam,
it happened. Old Mitch. Mm-hmm. We got to ring that bell again. We got to get Isaiah on the show. We'll do that. We'll do that coming up down the line. Absolutely. Don't forget our YouTube poll as well. Is Sawyer a nerd for enjoying building 9,000-piece Lego sets? No, at 64% of the vote. I said you guys are too nice. I knew you guys are too nice to say yes, which I dig that about you guys. That's cool. That's fine. I'll wear it on this one. It's not my bag. It's Sawyer's bag, but it looks like...
All right, well, I tell you what. Put a poll up. Is Neil slightly snooty?
Oh,
and let's
come
see
on,
what
Terry.
Let's see what that poll says. And you're gonna say, "Wait, these people are not that nice. What's going on here?"
No, I think our audience is nice enough. I think that would come in like 60-40, yes. Okay. When really, I think the people would really value that at 90-10.
I was going to say 70%.
Yeah. Our audience is nice, man. Hey, you know what else is nice? Guardian Alarm in the alarm game. They get it. Whether home or business, a good defense will help you feel secure. Guardian Alarm, state-of-the-art technology. Makes you feel safe with 24/7 local monitoring. They have convenient features that let you check in on your home or business, control lights and temperatures, detect smoke or carbon monoxide. You can even lock and unlock your doors. Boys, I need you on this one. Call 1-800.
Stay out!
Ooh, that was nice. That's 1-800.
Stay out!
Didn't even catch him slipping, everyone. Let them know Woodward Sports sent you to Guardian Alarm one more time. That's 1-800.
Stay out!
Get out of my house!
There it is, Sam. Bringing extra heat. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Opinions are like ear holes, and we're putting ours in yours.
Well, that's not winning, Joy.
It's Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, Uncle T. Foss here, Terry Foster, Detroit sports media icon, ESPN 30 for 30 legend and stalwart. I heard he has final say on the 30 for 30 topics going forward. They run it by you. and you either endorse or deny.
I'm done with that. I did my thing. Just move on. Now, have I screwed up your show today? I know you guys had everything planned out. Are you going to get to Ben Simmons?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Because I feel like I've screwed things
no,
up.
No, everything's right on. Everything's right online, Terry. Remember, I have the microphone.
I know.
Just like you do.
Yeah, but you have to respond to being snooty, so it kind of takes you off the game.
Speaking of that, look at that. Oh, there's 40 votes in 30 seconds. Of course there is. Is Neil snooty? 66% of the vote says yes. 34% of the vote says no.
See, that's close to my 70%.
Yes. And we're going to get into that. Pete
But
Smith.
why you're so snooty?
We can if you want. I know some people wanted to talk Pistons. I think that's a little bit more relevant to the show format. Pete Smith says, Neil is not snooty. He's pretty bougie, though. And I think that's accurate.
Mm-hmm.
That's accurate.
Do you put your pinky up in there when you sip your tea?
No. Terry, I work on my own furnace.
That was one time.
No, it was twice, actually. I did it before, too.
All right.
The condensation tank was full of gunk and stuff like that, so the condensation was backing up, so the bottom of the furnace was leaking. And I kind of went on YouTube and figured it out. Got in there and cleaned it out.
It's a scary thing to do with your furnace?
Pay for it?
No, light the pilot. Because I always think that thing's going to explode. I'm like,
I get that way about my grill when I'm lighting the grill. I'm
it will go poof sometimes. Yeah.
I always am kind of scared about that. Tom Sloan says T. Foss used to rock the Z Cavaricis. That's probably fair. Lions Rumble 81 Neil, there's that snooty now. Okay. Talk about candy corn. Neil gets real snooty. Well, I will get real snooty about that because that stuff's trash.
Like that junk?
Some people do, man.
It's wax and sugar
and chemical color.
Mm.
That's literally what it is.
I'd rather have a gummy bear.
It's the same thing as eating a crayon. Eat an orange crayon. It's the same thing.
Yeah, well, no thanks.
Pistons got a big win last night after getting cooked in Golden State. They bounced back. And Terry, this is a game I thought that... Now, I know Sacramento, and Sacramento's always going to go Sacramento. So in the back of my mind, I thought it was a possibility they could win, but I didn't expect them to win this game. Kelly Olynyk came back last night, was a factor right away, had 22 points, 9 rebounds. And what's interesting to me, Terry, they got this win in a game where the Kings jumped up by about 10 on them on a couple of different occasions, were able to reel them back in, and that was largely without Cade Cunningham, who played 21 minutes, fouled out, had 13 points, and was a minus 24. That's a good win.
I resent you calling this a big win. We're not going to remember this win at the end of the season.
No. And I'll back that up. Terry, in that with this roster, as it's constructed right now, with the youth of this roster, I think when you get a win, if you're the Pistons, where Cade Cunningham was a non-factor, I think that shows signs. I do. I think it shows signs. When you get a road win, West Coast, second day of a back-to-back, you covered that league for a long time, Terry. How'd you feel? And I'm asking you as a media person, not even as a player.
Every road victory is impressive because everything, especially on the West Coast.
Yeah. All right, impressive. It's an impressive win.
Impressive. I'll take that.
That's fair.
But they always celebrate West Coast victories, no matter who they're playing. And so, yeah, it was impressive. Big in the grand scheme of things. We won't remember this game in 2 months.
Rack ran into Neil at a bar once, offered to buy him a drink. His response was, Woodford with 3 ice cubes, peasant. No, that's not.
No.
Rack, I do remember that interaction. That was not the case.
I can tell that's a lie because Neil would say, Woodford with the big highball ice cube. He likes the big round ice cube, so he doesn't want 3 cubes in this thing because it dilutes your bourbon too much.
Yeah, the highballs melt evenly.
You're right.
That's why I like them. You're right.
So don't lie. Don't come in and lie because we can double check you.
Absolutely. The Isaiah Thomas versus Adrian Dantley thing has become a topic all of a sudden. Pete Smith asked T-Foss flat out if Dantley really said that Isaiah Thomas was a problem in Detroit. He wants you on.
Yes, he did say that. He said more than that. He said the problem with that team is that MFer over there. And he pointed right at Isaiah Thomas.
Does that answer your question, Pete? There you go. So we went right to the source.
Bad blood.
On that. So it was a impressive win for me to see what they did and to have Kelly Olynyk back. And remember, there hasn't been a Jeremy Grant. I think that got lost in the shuffle a little bit for Pistons fans, where you forgot you had no Olynyk, and people can say what they want about him. He was supposed to be a big part of this team and what they do in terms of floor spacing, playing to his strengths and stuff like that. No Jeremy Grant, who was on the Dream Team, on the U.S. Olympic team, this Olympic cycle. No Jeremy Grant for a long time. Cade Cunningham was able to carry this team, I thought, for a recent stretch. But Terry, explain to me, and this has been my understanding of it, when you have young teams, because I think this filters over to college basketball as well, when you have obscenely young teams, which the Pistons in the grand scheme of things are an obscenely young team, it is hard. When things go south, they go south. And when they go south on the road, they really go south on the road. And young teams, Terry, are going to get blown out of games. That's the way it works.
They absolutely will. And here's what else happens to young teams this time of year. And it's not happening with the Pistons. There's this January wall, and it hits a lot of NBA teams, especially young teams, because you're playing like your 40th game. This isn't college anymore. And, everywhere you go is gray, is dreary. And those teams kind of get lost in January. The Pistons is 6-5, which is impressive. I'm not going to say it's a world beater, but that's better than being 11-33. But, that's why young teams need a vet in the room. He doesn't have to be a guy that's playing a lot. It doesn't have to be a guy who's an all-star. But you need a vet sometimes to say, hey, young fellas, it's basketball.
The NBA is a big veteran game.
I know you're playing in Chicago, but just pretend that you're playing in Detroit. There's no difference. Basketball is basketball. And they need those people to settle them down. Like the Tigers have Miguel Cabrera to settle them down. Miguel Cabrera, and this is not brought out enough, Miguel Cabrera on road trips conducts hitting seminars with the young players when they're struggling with something, because Miguel Cabrera doesn't like to look at game film a lot, but he will look at game film for other guys so that they can straighten their swings out. You need that guy in the locker room that's going to settle you down sometimes, because a lot of times in the NBA, it's like a 6-minute stretch which screws you for the whole evening. So that vet needs to get that team through that 6-minute stretch before it even happens. He's going to say, hey, look, they're going to clown you for a while. Make it 3 minutes instead of 6, and maybe we can get a win out of here. So it's a guy that understands the league a little bit and can convey it to players, and it's something that coaches can't do. For whatever reason, it's got to be another player.
Pete Smith says, so Terry, the best point guard in the history of the game was the problem. LOL.
I didn't say it. No, there was something else going on. Dantley and Isaiah hated each other. They really did. So this was a situation where Adrian Dantley, who was a big scorer, thought he should be the guy in Detroit. So this was a power struggle. Isaiah was like, hey, I'm the man here. And AD didn't want to give it up to him because he was younger. Dantley was more established at that time.
He was a big-time player in the league.
He was a big-time player, right. So he's like, this should be Adrian Dantley's team. And then, the rumors were starting that AD was going to be traded for Mark Aguirre. He didn't like that. And he kept looking at Isaiah. But I'm convinced the guy that really got him traded was Coach Chuck Daly. Because Chuck Daly wanted a free-flowing offense, and he wanted Dennis Rodman to play more. Dantley, when he got the ball, he would dribble.
It was a black hole. The ball went into a black hole.
And his possessions would last 10 to 15 seconds.
Right.
Chuck Daly didn't like that.
Yeah. No, and I understand that. And when you look back on it, too, with that team, free-flowing off, it almost was like they had a checklist offensively. Like James Edwards would score from the post in the first quarter. That's the
He
way
get his
it worked.
8 points in the first quarter, and then you wouldn't hear from him again.
Yeah, and then it would work through, and then Vinnie Johnson would come off the bench, and he'd have his moment. Isaiah would sprinkle the points throughout. Joe Dumars would sprinkle the points throughout, and that was the way it worked. Lambier, once you establish trying to stop the guards, then Bill would stop the guard penetration. Bill Lambier would pop out free and knock down a couple of big threes, and that it was almost like a checklist. Like I always thought Pistons offense during the Bad Boys run was a checklist.
It was. And then here's the other thing, Chuck Daly, if you couldn't stop something, he would say, okay,
he'd just keep doing it.
We're just going to do it over and over and over again. The thing about NBA coaches, something to be successful, so we're going to do it like 2 or 3 times, and then we'll move away from it because we're sure they're going to adjust. Some teams didn't adjust to it. So Pistons like, hey, we're going to keep doing this.
Dantley taking a lot of heat right now. Lions Rumble 81, Dantley was a pansy. You don't score that many points in the league being soft. You know what I'm saying? He was a good player.
He was a very good player. Do you know what he's doing now?
Is he coaching?
He's a crossing guard.
Oh, that's right. I remember reading that story. Yeah, at his daughter's school.
Yes.
the school his kids went to or whatever. He's a crossing guard. I like it. Everyone at the time labeled Aguirre as selfish, but it was far from that.
Well, they had to teach Aguirre not to be selfish. I thought he was selfish in Dallas because he was the Dallas Mavericks. So he came in here and they had these tough practices. They kicked his ass for a whole week. But it wasn't just being physical with him in practice, but they would lecture him after practice. Here's what you have to do. This is your job. Take it or leave it.
Right. YouTube poll right now, is Neil Snooty? Yes at 69%, no at 31%.
You know what? That's sort of unfair to you. I created this whole mess. Neil's a great guy, everybody.
You want to talk about condescending. You want to talk about me and like ulterior angles and stuff like that and talking down to people, right? That was it right there. Clip that. I created all this. I'm sorry. He's a great guy. But let's put it up on the poll. Is he snooty? Did I get my own medicine right there, Terry?
Yeah, a little bit. But see, I admit I'm that way. So it doesn't bother me. But Neil is a wonderful young man. Whenever I go to Oakland games, I see that I would get this for like 2 seconds. At some point, Neil will know I'm there, and he go, "Hey," give me a big smile, and then back to
work.
Back to work.
No time for games,
but
Terry.
I got the 2 seconds.
You did. No time for games, Terry. I'm putting in work. It was almost like I was at Planet Fitness, Terry, putting in work.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Now, Planet Fitness is a wonderful place because it's the home of the judgment-free zone, which is good for me because I'm not one of those dudes who's going to carry around 100-pound weights. I can't even pick them up. So I will go around and I carry my little 2-pound weights and, I do my little exercise. And guess what? People are like, hey, good job, 2 pounds today. Love it. So they don't judge me, and you don't get those lunks and hunks and all that kind of stuff, the tubes. And membership starts at just $10 a month. Or I am a black card member, and that's not expensive too, $22.99. Now with the black card, you get the hydro massage bed, the little chairs that massage your legs and everything. And also, they have this body enhancement thing. It just tones your body. And the thing I don't use is the tanning beds. They got a bunch of those in there, too. So if you do the $22.99. So join today. Go to your local club. I did that. Excuse me. Or join Planet Fitness at planetfitness.com. That's pretty original. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. Now there's one open at the Pistons Performance Center, so you can work out next to the Pistons in Midtown. Right now, no money down, $10 a month, Planet Fitness. I have a good time. And the other good thing, I have my old people in there. We work out together and have a good time.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. John Allen, our YouTube chat thread. Neil Rule, T-Foss back with you, by the way. We got Sawyer and Sam, you know the squad, in here. Patty Grimes on our YouTube chat thread says, modern NBA is terrible. Too many people trying to shoot three-pointers that shouldn't be. Patty, that's an analytic thing.
Yeah, and it's the game evolved.
Right.
Before, you had your big butt centers. The game would run through them. They'd weigh 270, 280 pounds, 6'10", and they would try to score inside. And then if they couldn't get it, then they pump it outside. Now the offense is designed to set you up for an open three-pointer, and coaches decided that it's better to shoot 33% from three-point than 45% from 2-point.
Because three is greater than two.
But back in the day, if you shot too many three-pointers, you got yelled at.
Josh Ellis says, Neil, sweatshirt's awesome. Where'd you get that sweatshirt? This is a team issue from Oakland. So is that snooty? It's team issue.
In other words,
it's not available to the public.
It's not available for me and you.
No.
Even though we would love to have it, we are not worthy enough to wear that T-shirt.
And now give out the poll. There you go, Terry. YouTube chat poll right now. Is Neil snooty? 72% of the vote says yes.
Yes, I got 70%. All right.
Man, I thought you guys were nice too. Guess not.
Exactly.
Neil, what's wrong with Westbrook? I mean, I don't know. That's a weird one because I've always been a Westbrook guy.
What's he ever won?
What's that?
What's he ever won?
That's been the problem, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's been the problem. I've always been a Westbrook guy. I guess that depends on him, like where he's going to end up, because it's not going to work in L.A.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
apparent.
that's a train wreck.
Yeah. And that's, you know what, though? That's Anthony Davis, man. Everyone loves Anthony Davis, and I've never understood it. In the meantime, Nikola Jokic, my guy, that I've loved forever, everybody always like, yeah, he's good, man, but he's no Anthony Davis. At what point do you have to play? You got to play at some point, Terry. I got to not hear it. I got to see it.
Here's the thing. I mean, you just open up the internet and you say, okay, Anthony Davis had 27 points, 8 rebounds, a couple assists, and maybe 3 or 4 block shots. What stat they don't put in there is the soft stat. How soft was he that night? So you never see that.
Right.
So that's why people think Anthony Davis is like the third best player in the league.
YT Sparty says, I need to apply to call games at Harvard.
No, it's Harvard.
Harvard, yeah, absolutely.
Harvard.
Rob wants to know if my wife's name is Buffy. No, it's not.
What is her name?
Sylvia.
That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sylvia. Yeah, I've said before, her parents are from Italy, so,
So sweet Sylvia.
Sylvia, yeah.
Her name is Sylvia.
Sylvia. Well, the Italian pronunciation. So
like Adidas.
That's where it is. Did want to get into this Ben Simmons discussion, and for me, I am a fan of a Ben Simmons-esque trade. The reports are out there. The Pistons made an offer: Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey, Kelly Olynyk, and a first-round pick to the Sixers for Ben Simmons via Bleacher's Report. 76ers were not excited about the offer, which, Terry, I know that this stuff works, and here's where I lean on you. I want to get your take on the Ben Simmons thing as a whole. Would you support it? What do you think about it? Because I'm not a fan of that offer. I don't, but I have something to kind of turn that on its side, that offer. But T-Foss, give me your 30,000-foot view of this whole Ben Simmons situation right now.
All right, Ben Simmons scares me. If he's going to act a fool in Philadelphia, why not in Detroit? Because I don't think the grass over here is any greener than it is in Philadelphia. He had a very good situation there. We got they were bad for a long time. They're building a team up to maybe not championship caliber, but championship contender. And then he's like, I'm opting out for the most part. And then he gets into a pissing match with, and I've seen that here. I've seen this here with Alvin Gentry. I've seen it here with Dennis Rodman. And, who's to say it's the same thing's not going to happen here in Detroit? Another thing, he stopped shooting the basketball. Why do you already got a guy on the team who's afraid to shoot a basketball. So you want to put a second one in?
Well, for me, it's the versatility of Ben Simmons as a player, as the whole.
If you get that player here.
Right. But, I mean, this isn't an uncommon opinion, but I kind of share it, where how else are you going to get a player of that caliber here? Because you're not getting in free agency, right?
No, you're not.
So
you gotta wait for him to be a clown, and you have to hope and pray that he buys in. You can do it, but you've got to have meetings with Ben Simmons before you pull the trigger. You got to talk to him. You got to have Dwayne Casey talk to him, which is probably tampering. You can't do it, but that's the only way that I would pull off a Ben Simmons trade, unless you're not giving up a first-round pick. You're not giving up 4 assets. I don't think he's worth it.
And for me, kind of my thing with it, and here's where it gets a little cloudy and it gets a little tough to do because of some ambiguous NBA rules. My whole trade thing would be, because it's got to be Grant Olnick to make the money work. So that's
Yes.
the baseline right there. Those players are the ones that have to be involved. My thing was, because if you're going to get a Ben Simmons, you need a Sadiq Bey. So how I'm going to sweeten that pot is I'm going to pull Bey out of that trade offer, and I'm going to put in this year's first, number 1 protected, which is how I would, number 1 only though. I'm a big Banchero guy, but that's about it. So for me, now you can't do that deal right now if you're the Pistons, because the NBA has a rule, Terry, where you can't not have a first-round pick in back-to-back years. And so with the Pistons right now, next year's first-round pick is technically owned by Oklahoma City. And then the following year, they have a first-round pick that they don't own as well. So they can't technically trade. Now, it's heavily protected. I forget what the exact protections are. I think it's like top 15 protected, which obviously it looks like they're not going to make the playoffs. So it'll be top 15. But they don't own it until the draft lottery happens. So for me, I would give them this year's first-round pick. Because if you're, and we discussed this yesterday with Bryce Simon of the Motor City Hoops podcast, it's time to either dive in the pool or walk back to the chair with Jeremy Grant, because you're going to have to pay him $35 million a year to keep him. Is he that guy, T-Foss?
No, he's not that guy.
So then you can't lose him for nothing.
No, I am willing to trade Jeremy Grant for Ben Simmons and Olenek, but I'm not giving up more assets, because I don't think Jeremy Grant's here for the right reasons. I don't think he's here to be that bridge for the Pistons to become great. I think Jeremy Grant came here to show people around the league, Jeremy Grant can play. I can score, I can rebound, I can shoot the 3. So I'm showcasing what I can do for the rest of the league, and the Pistons, you can say whether yes or no they're benefited or not. I don't think he's here for the right reasons, so I'm willing to part with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, for me, it's just, where are you going to get that caliber of player? How are you going to get that caliber? Because he's great defensively. Great defensive player. And he's versatile. Can play all 5 positions. True?
Maybe
he can guard. All right. Can play 4 different positions.
Mm-hmm.
Can guard all 5 positions. Just the versatility with him and the way he can drive, the way he can get to the bucket. That's why I have to keep Bey if I'm doing this deal, number 1. Now, is Bey more of a 3-and-D guy? Yeah, probably. I mean, that's probably what it looks like he's going to be. And then last night we saw when the 3 is on, it's on, because he exploded yesterday against the Kings. It's just, for me, I'll do it. And I know we're getting blowback. Then what's your move? What's your move then? So then your move is to pay Grant $35 million a year, because that's what it's going to be.
No, your move is to trade him, but not necessarily for Ben Simmons. I'd have to see what works as far as.
Well, who's gonna take him on though? He's got to go to a contender, right? See, the problem for me in all this is, I think we have two segmented markets. Ben Simmons, I think, can only go to a non-playoff team, and I think Jeremy Grant can pretty much only go to a playoff team or a contending team.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's two different dynamics in play, which makes this tough.
Right. And, plus
Terry, if you're going to trade Grant, so you're telling me then 2 first-round picks or something like that?
Probably, because they're so young that I'm at the point where I'm willing to give up first-round picks.
Right, but okay, so a first-round pick in the 20s, one next year, and then 1-2 years down the road. Does that intrigue?
Yeah, but the Pistons are going to stink, so you can get a good draft pick. You're going to get a top 5 pick this year and maybe next year. So I would do that if I'm a contender, because I want to add assets. My team just can't get old. I'm going to have, if I can add a couple, first-round picks for the future, yeah, I'm willing to do that.
All right, we'll discuss a little more when we come back. This is Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
No off-season for us. We're talking sports. 365. Detroit Sports Network. Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, Terry Foster, Sam and Sawyer here as well. Happy to have you all along with us today as we come down the stretch of the show on a Thursday. So, T-Foss, you're in on Monday, right?
Yes,
per
sir.
usual? Okay, so T-Foss will be back with us on Monday. So, again, we're having that discussion right now. And I don't know what the other alternative is. And I'm all right with stepping. And I'm evolving on this. I wasn't as much before, but now I am, where I'll step up to the crap table with it. But I got to keep Sadiq Bey, and to sweeten the pot, because I'm not just saying, I'll give you that offer, but take back Sadiq Bey. I'll give you our first-round pick next year as long as it's not number 1 overall. Now, again, keep in mind, you can't do this trade till the draft lottery, because the Pistons cannot not own a first-round pick in consecutive years, which they don't technically. The first-round pick is owned by Oklahoma City, top 15 protected, which it's going to be unless the Pistons make the playoffs. So it will be theirs.
Okay. Well, I'm willing to give up 2 first-round picks, even if they're staggering years, to so you imply the NBA rules. But I think the Pistons are young enough. There's no need to get younger. You pretty much have the nucleus of your team together. Now you need to trade a piece or 2 and grow as a team and see where that goes.
Yeah, it's just, for me, I'm not interested in 2 picks in the 20s, man. Like, I'm just not. This interests me a lot more.
If you get the Pistons picks, they're not going to be in the 20s. They're going to be in the...
Right, which you'll still have anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do the Simmons trade, you'll still... You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll still have it. Really, what are you giving up?
Are we talking about for the Pistons? Or are we talking about the team
I'm talking about for the
trading
Pistons.
for? Okay.
Yeah, I don't care about the other team. I think my Matt Stafford stance has
No, I'm saying that the other team would benefit because they're going to get 2 top 5 picks. So I'm willing to do that because I know the Pistons are going to be bad.
Yeah, it's just, for me, that's what I'm doing. If I'm going to take Bey out, which I think you need, if you take out a Ben Simmons, then I'm going to plug in next year's first-round pick, and that's how I'm going to roll, man. Like, that's what I'm going to do. So it's the only option out there. I'm not interested in Grant to, I don't know, pick your. I'm not interested in Jeremy Grant to the Utah Jazz for 2 Utah Jazz first-round picks that are 27.
And the other thing about giving up those first-round picks, I don't see LeBron James or the next LeBron James coming down the pipe. I don't hear or see any of these college players where you're like, ooh, I gotta have this guy.
Yeah. Banchero's really the only one that.
But is he really like?
I mean, no, it's not. It's not like, oh, this is a Hall of Famer. As soon as we, it's not like it's LeBron or something like that, where, he's more likely. Could he be? Could he be a bust? I mean, sure, he could be a bust, but just I've had the opportunity to watch them play a couple times, and I really think he has an NBA style game where he can do a little bit of everything. He can run point at times on a break. He can shoot it from outside. I really like his skill set. I do.
But if you can do a little bit of everything, you're not that monster that I fear.
But that's the way the game's going. Like we talked about Patty Grimes' comment earlier. That's the way it's positionless now, Terry.
It is positionless, but
it's 5 athletes on the floor.
You need to do something great. Even if you are a Swiss Army knife, you need to do something where I'm like, ooh, my God, look at this guy. He can shoot that three like Steph Curry.
Rob J says, if you get Ben Simmons, it's another Blake Griffin move, like a hamster in a cage. And I disagree with that because Simmons is still 25. Like, we forget that. He's 25, man. And no matter what, he can defend any spot on the floor. What do you got, Sam?
And what Terry said, doing something great. Ben Simmons, even though I'm scared for how he played in the playoffs last year, just like stop shooting the ball, he does do two things great. Defend, and he's a 6'10" point guard who can pass.
He's a great passer, yeah.
And on the fast break, I don't know if there's anybody better, honestly, at running a fast break than Ben Simmons.
Yeah. And people are saying you can't have a small forward that can't shoot, then you put him at the 4. Or you put him at the 5.
No.
Or you put him at the 2.
It's not can't shoot. Refuses to shoot.
Right. But it's not his forte.
There's something going on with Ben Simmons that needs to be examined by a doctor. He's not right. And so that is my big fear. You're talking about Ben Simmons from when he came into the league and like, hey, I'm Ben Simmons. I'm ready to tear it up. Yeah, I want that guy. I'm not convinced you're ever going to get that guy again because, what's the one thing we talk about in sports now a lot? Mental health. I think there's something that you need to figure out mental health-wise with Ben Simmons before he could come in here and help the Pistons. I don't think it's a quick fix either.
Update the YouTube chat poll right now. Is Neil snooty? 70% yes, 30% no. So there it is. I thought people were nicer than that. But, hey, I guess they're not, Terry. Only when it's Sawyer, they're nice, I guess.
Neil is not really snooty. He's just above it all.
See, here he goes again. Your tone, Terry. Terrence, your tone. It's what you say to people, Terry. It's not what you say to people. It's how you say it, Terry.
Bam. Guilty.
Lions Rumble 81 switches position. He's not a point guard on our team. Cade is my point guard because he will shoot the 3 and drive it to the hole. Cade can bounce back and forth, but I think Simmons again, he fits that mold because Cade can play 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
sure.
We're talking about it being positionless and things like that, and it's matchup driven and get your guys out there on the floor. I think there's something
once
to
again,
that.
You run into a potential problem. Not saying it's going to be a problem, but you have said to Cade Cunningham, "This is your team. You own the city. You're doing bad insurance ads. We love you." And now you're going to bring in Ben Simmons and probably say, "Okay, Cade, you got to give some of that up."
Pete Smith says, if Ben Simmons were the shooter in Boys in the Hood, Rookie would still be with us.
True.
I can never watch that movie again. It was so sad, especially since he was the one who was going to be like the athlete that got out.
Right.
Oh, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. But instead, it didn't work that way.
Why they always kill the athletes? They don't do anything to anybody except play ball and then let's just shoot them. Bam.
I don't know, Terry. I don't know why. Either they don't know, don't show, or don't care about what's going on in the hood.
I guess not.
That's where it is. But yeah, I mean, just kind of wrapping up the Ben Simmons discussion. Get Ben Simmons to meet up with Blake Griffin's shooting coach. Is he a knockdown shooter? No, he's not. But again, I just keep going back to it where for me, it's the only shot you got to get an established guy, defensive player of the year caliber defender elite passer, certainly elite passer for his size, and versatile. He's a big time puzzle piece. Now, Terry, you're right, like the psychological thing and stuff like that. I wonder, is that being overblown? Is it beef that he has with Joel Embiid? Like, we don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, we don't. There's a lot of things. We don't know the inner workings of the team, but there's something wrong with him. And the Pistons have to figure out, can we unlock the old Bill Simmons? If you can, then maybe you go for it. But there's no guarantee that you can do that. And by the way, Neil, some of those passes, those great passes he makes, he's turning down layups to make great passes. So you gotta be careful with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. People too are talking about. Oh, where was the one? It was pretty funny. The messages are moving so fast. They got a real kick out of how you said above it all is even worse. They said they're laughing at that. They say above it all is the worst thing that you said, Terry.
I want to apologize to my pal Neil here. He's really a great and terrific guy, good father, a really good husband, except at the dinner table.
Doughboy getting a lot of love too from boys in the. I knew you guys would do this, man. You guys are the best at it. They talk about me with the segues. You guys are the best at taking, just some topic that we mentioned in passing and just taking the baton and running with it. Just like Sawyer is great at foaling, and I'm not talking about knocking the bowling pins over at the football. I'm talking about drinking at Old Milwaukee.
Oh yeah, I know a thing or two about doing that at the Foaling Warehouse. I mean, it's the place to be. You just got to go to Hamtramck, or they have places in Indianapolis, but I mean, we're a little far from there, but if you're visiting, go check it out. It's a great thing to pass some time while you're down there. And I mean, this is the birthplace to the original football bowling pin game called foaling. I mean, it's revolutionary. You throw footballs at bowling pins, knock them down, makes you feel powerful, get to show off your arm, show how good you are. It's good stuff. I mean, it's a massive warehouse, multiple lanes, 2 gigantic bars. You can show up, pay $10, play from open to close all day, or you can rent a lane privately for your corporate event. We had our Christmas party there. You can do family reunions. I mean, you can go on a date there. You can just bring the boys out, have a good time, or just do a ladies' night there as well. Anybody can come and play. You just can't miss this opportunity. And, I mean, 2 big bars, 2 mystery beer machines. I pulled the Old Milwaukee and the PBR. Braylon got the Colt 45. We know the deal. It's a hitter every time. But, hey, if you don't want to get a mystery beer, that's fine. You don't want to spend your $2 on that. It's a little bit of a risk, even though we haven't gotten burned yet. They have over 100 beers to choose from, so you can get yourself a Lagunitas. You can get yourself a Guinness. I mean, I don't know if they have it, but if you really wanted to, you could probably get yourself a Hams if you were feeling like going down that path. So what you got to do for me is go to foalingwarehouse.com or go to the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. This is BDE on the Woodward Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
The pros know. Go! Listen Monday through Friday for Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network with Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the silky voice of Neil Rule.
Final segment of the show, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, T-Foss, Terry Foster here in the house. We got Sam, we got Sawyer. We're out here in the streets, folks. And hey, I like this here because now I'm finally starting to get some credit. Eastside Meach. I'd like to change my snooty vote after Neil hit the Doughboy line perfect.
Yeah, but somebody gave him the line. That doesn't count.
T-Foss, I got bars. Is that true?
Well, like, at least every show has got some kind of reference.
That's fine. Mike G says T-Foss is Doughboy, Rule is basically Trey, and Sawyer would be Ricky.
Okay.
Yep. Tom Sloan, look at Neil going all gangster. Neil, a.k.a. Gangster Rule. My street cred's back up, T-Foss.
Gangster Rule. That works.
Dior Clamp says, if Bay gets traded, I don't know if I'm a Pistons fan anymore. I don't think he wouldn't be part of my package for Simmons. I just wonder, do you think Morey's overplaying this hand a little bit? Daryl Morey there in Philadelphia?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he wants people to believe that Ben Simmons is this great assets. He wants them to remember what he used to be. And so, yeah, he's probably overplaying his hand. But, Philadelphia, that's what they've done the whole time, this whole rebuild.
Mike G says Doughboy can click on them hydraulics on the Impala and get going at the folding warehouse when he pulls up. I think that would be. I think that
Neil's got one of them bumping cars. Then you take that pole down. Take it down.
Should I get some hydraulics on the SUV, Terry?
Sure.
Should I lower it at least? Get some wider tires?
I don't think that works on Escalades.
I don't have an Escalade, Terry.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. Don't have a Escalade.
I said Escalades as in plural.
No, we don't have Escalades over at the house. You're going to get me in trouble, man. Detroit Dabber 313, 30 racks of hams for like $13 was a major budget-friendly option back in the frat house for sure.
Oh, yeah. On bid day, we used the hams quite a bit for a little bid day ceremony we always do because it's so cheap.
Yeah, and you and I were talking about hams a little bit, and you shared a story with me during the break about, I said, hey, Foster's is my one where if nothing was available, I would have to seriously take a look at drinking that night. I mean, ultimately, I would end up doing it.
Yep.
But I would think about it. And you said, yeah, man, I had a Foster's. I didn't enjoy it. You got the big oil can of Foster's, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were just at
you went all the way.
Yeah, at the local liquor store
I had an oil
where we
can.
lived.
Did you?
People, yeah. I got an oil can, and some guy gave me a poster of a open wheel race car, and on the back it says Foster's. It's sponsoring the race car. So I hung that up in my office. It looks pretty cool. But I've never drank the beer. Is that beer or something else?
No, it's beer.
Is it? Because
I'll pass.
Didn't they try to call it ale or? I don't know.
Robert says Neil's got spinning rims. I don't. Natural Ice 2, they give you $60 for the price of a 12-pack. Natural Ice can give you a headache, though, man. Something fierce.
Yeah, the bad beer does give you a headache.
Yep.
Right on the temple, too. It's a specific place where you get bad beer headaches, and it's right here. It's right in your temple.
Yeah, I do like the fact, though, that Sawyer went down the Foster's route. But it's
Had
bad.
to try it.
Do you know what? Foster's is Australian for beer.
Yeah. Atlas is taking some heat right now. Getting some messages about Atlas coming through. I got a good Atlas story for you.
It sounds like we need to have a beer show one day. Now, do they still make hams?
They do, yeah. Throughout my 4 years at school, and I graduated last year, we used hams every year. So
Rack says that Foster's is dumpster juice. We had the dumpster juice discussion before.
Okay.
It's not good, and I'm not going to disparage. Foster's has a big following. It's been around for a long time. There are some people that like it. I am not one of those people. But hey, I did ask Foster, though.
You know what? You probably don't drink beer anyway. He drinks meads.
I did ask Sawyer, though, about his Foster's experience. He said he wasn't a fan, but I give him credit. I said, you powered your way through the oil can anyway, though, right?
Oh,
and
yeah,
he's
100%.
Yeah, like there were no doubts whatsoever.
I mean, yeah, you got to finish it to say you tried it, So
yeah,
what's the worst beer you've ever had? And don't say Heineken.
Foster's.
Is it?
Yeah.
The worst one I had was Wiedemanns. Wiedemanns is a beer that they produce up north, and the only time I've ever had it was in Mount Pleasant. Tasted like prune juice.
Yeah.
And it makes you fart.
Jenna Newman says topping White Claws with Gypsy vodka gives a headache too, but only when there's abundance of them drank. See, that's fair. Absolutely. I think that's pretty much universally the case. YT Sparty says I went for 40 ounces of Mickey's. I was more Old English I've had more Old English in my time than Mickey's.
Magnum.
Yeah, Mickey's was pretty big in my old neighborhood.
All right. Natural Ice for me. I would do Natural Light. That's a good canoeing beer. Like you crack that first one. Sorry, you could probably relate to this. You crack that first one when you get in the water at like 9:30 a.m. and you take that whole 30 pack all the way till 2 a.m. and call it a day.
Yeah, just float down the river.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
That's
Bring a
why.
fishing rod.
Now, you want to talk about snooty. I do this, and this is pretty elitist.
Now here it comes.
I always make sure I'm in a middle canoe so I don't have to paddle.
Yeah.
Always. And we're tying those things together.
Oh,
and
whether you like it or not.
Yeah, whether you like it or not. And that's why I always bring the rope to tie this is a low-key power move when you canoe. If you always bring the rope, Sawyer, you'll never have to paddle.
Yeah, but you know what? Neil is also showing his strong arm. Everybody allows him to be in that middle canoe. So they must be slightly afraid of you.
It's a good play, Sawyer. You're still young. You're probably in the midst of your canoeing days right now. You bring the rope with you, and then that way you're sitting in the middle, and you're like, here, you take this in, you take that in, and you guys tie them all together, and then boom, and then you're there chilling. It's a veteran move, T-Foss.
I've never done that.
We'll be back at it. We'll be back. There's a lot of funny messages in there. We don't have time, though, unfortunately. We'll be back at it tomorrow. For Terry Foster, for Sam, for Sawyer. Appreciate y'all. My name is Neil Rule for tapping in to Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Well, see you later.
Bye-bye. Gang, gang.